I don't know how many times I hear whenever I listen to debates between atheists and theists, people that are not convinced that a God exists and people that believe a God exists. I don't know how many times I hear theists say something like, what harm does religion do? Like, how does religion hurt people? Why do you think religion is bad? Well, there are so many reasons as to why I believe religion is a bad thing overall. I don't care what flavor of religion you like to sip. I just think it's just a bad concoction. Here's an example. Now, of course, this is going to be from one specific little slice of the religious pie. And it may not be the same slice you occupy, but just because it's these other people, that doesn't mean this stuff doesn't happen everywhere or something else that is just as bad. So let me know what you think about this. Leave a like or a comment or whatever. Subscribe if you're into this type of stuff, and I'll keep providing it. There we go. So the article says, I flew across the country for my mom's wedding. When I arrived, she uninvited me. So just skipping around in the article, it says, I'd flown across the country for this. It was a rare opportunity to see her. 14 years earlier, I'd been disfellowshipped by the Jehovah's Witness elders, which means I was considered spiritually dead and excommunicated from the congregation, including friends and family. So just a little bit of background. I was actually raised in the Jehovah's Witness religion. Now, I personally call it a cult. I call every single denomination of every single religion basically a cult. They all kind of follow the same thing. Now, I just have a little more intimate knowledge of this just because I spent years going to these places and talking to these people, and they are not all bad by any means. So let's just go there. And yes, I do have family that are still in this religion, a large amount of them. And do I think they're stupid? No. But I definitely think people are being misled, people are being deceived, people are being played on, like their fears are being taken advantage of. And there's also social pressures too. So I do believe that there are a lot of people, probably in my family, probably in these congregations, that don't believe a single bit of this, but they just go along to get along. So she gives a little bit of background about what her disfellowshipment was like. In the 14 years, I tried to remind my mom I was still alive. I'd occasionally text photos of my cat or let her know about big news like when I got my PhD. Sometimes she'd respond, most times she didn't. She refused to attend my own wedding, but she did send a gift. Pause right there. I don't know why people think that's something. I mean, I putting on that side's hat, the Jehovah's Witness hat, I can see that as them saying, "Oh, I'm compromising a little bit with you," and that actually means a lot. But taking off that hat and like throwing it into the trash, it's just a shitty thing to do. It's like, I'm just going to try to pay you off with this thing, this item, instead of the thing that you actually want, which is my love and affection and support. And yeah, it's ridiculous. She goes on to say, or the article goes on to say, her wedding was my last chance. I felt I would show her I was still her family, even if I was no longer part of her religion, and she could still love me. But as my plane landed, she once again refused to see me. She raised me to be a good Jehovah's Witness girl. Just before my 21st birthday, though, I rejected her God and she rejected me in return. I had a tricky habit of sleeping with my friends, boys and girls, fellow witnesses, and neighbors who were worldly. The term Jehovah's Witnesses used for everyone outside the congregation. I straddled two worlds. Tuesday and Thursday nights, I did Monday and Wednesday nights, and field service on Saturdays, and then, of course, both meetings on Sundays, and sometimes field service on Sundays. Yeah, Tuesday and Thursday nights were in the Kingdom Hall, their house of worship. On Wednesday, I'd abscond with a friend out to the South Carolina back roads, and into the backseat of my green Chevy Corsica. So this next bit is important. It says here, Jehovah's Witnesses maintain loyalty by monitoring members' actions and looking for any signs that they may step off the narrow path. The governing body, a group of 8 men said to be appointed by God, dictates a litany of complex rules. Each kingdom hall is led by elders who enforce those rules. Members are rewarded for their service with additional titles, access to leadership opportunities, and prominent teaching positions. Really, it's kind of just like a popularity contest. It's like there's a pecking order inside of the congregation. You got, some people. It's kind of like if you work in an office, right? You got those people that are going to do the job that they were hired to do, and then you got those people that, it's not just career promotion. They kind of want the prestige that goes along with like a higher level position, that type of thing. It's very similar. For minor offenses, members are punished with public announcements of their sins, silent treatments, and demotion of their titles. After they kicked me out, I felt like I left a toxic husband, except it was an entire congregation of elders. I felt high when I wore short shorts without shame, staying out all night without having to lie about where I was. Felt like a radical act of self-determination, but the price of my freedom was painful. The elders effectively pronounced me dead, and my mom acted as if I was. I mourned the death of her love. She told me she wouldn't see me until I came back to the Kingdom Hall. Very important. That card gets played all the time. I've personally known people that have left the religion, but then later they decide to go back just because they miss talking to their family, like their immediate family. And people want to ask how religion can be harmful. They're calling this being disfellowship, the Jehovah's Witnesses, but Catholicism has been excommunicated, and people probably get excommunicated all the time. And every religion has their own little form of shunning or outing or ousting or whatever. And this public announcement of sins thing, that is just... It's like the way that they try to justify things when you're in it, and everybody kind of like nods their head and goes along with it. It's very... I'm not going to say it's very easy because I never believed in any of it, but I can see how it would be easy for someone to go, oh, maybe this is the right way to do it. Maybe this is sane. But does this happen anywhere else? Like stuff like this outside of religion? No, not really. I mean, I know that people are going to find some exceptions and probably leave a comment about that, but whatever. Anyway, she refused to hug me until I repented. Her love was hostage, and my repentance was the ransom I refused to pay. So it talks about how her life kind of spiraled after she was disfellowshipped because you lose your entire support system. And the whole idea is that you're not supposed to talk to people on the outside and build relationships with them. So when you lose the people on the inside, you have no one. And generally, people have to resort to desperate measures, especially if they're super young and they don't have a foundation. So it goes on here how she talks about her mom calling to tell her that she was getting married, which is just super fucking selfish and weird because the mom is going to reject all of these other things, but she's going to call her and be like, hey, I'm getting married. It says here, I launched into my arguments for why I should be invited. Weddings are times to bring together two people in their families, I told her. Yes, but it's different with you, she replied. I know, Mom, but you're marrying this man and you don't think he deserves to be introduced to all your children? Her silence rang in my ears. I want to meet him, Mom. I want to see you get married, I said. She quietly replied, well, I can let you know when we set a wedding date. So lame. So lame. She says, this was a lie. I knew the date had been set weeks ago. Still, I cracked open the door. I'd use that crack to wedge myself into her wedding. So it goes on to talk about how they're having conversations about the different elements of the wedding, the dresses, the flowers. And then, she goes on to talk about the guy saying that he does work helping to rebuild people's homes in the South and kingdom halls and whatever. So she flies from California to South Carolina to attend the wedding. She says here, But as my plane landed the day before the wedding, she changed her mind. Before responding to her text uninviting me, I ran to the airport bathroom. I wept on the cold floor, furious at myself after all these years she could still hurt me so deeply. I splashed water on my face and prepared to beg. Now, I understand this is this person's mom, and everybody has different feelings about things and, what have you, but this person has gone over a decade of shunning you, like rejecting you, like rejecting acknowledging your existence, like you're spiritually dead, like you're not there in their mind. It's, at least that's supposed to be what the case is. And so, I mean, I understand there's a level of brainwashing to all of this, but if a person is willing to do that to their own child, I just don't have respect for that person. I wouldn't even care if they were my own parent. That is just some three-dimensional chess levels of disrespect. I just can't. But she sees it differently. She calls her mom. She begs. The mom says, if I see you, I'll just cry, and I want to be happy on my wedding day. This mom is a complete piece of shit. So they go out to a lunch and they talk about it, and the fiance is talking to the woman's husband and saying that all she has to do is come back. Her mom is ready to accept her. All she has to do is come back. All she has to do is commit a life of servitude to shit that she doesn't believe in. That is, quite frankly, if you want to use the word evil, I don't necessarily care for it, but fuck it, I'll use it right now. The way this religion has treated her and manipulated her mother is evil. That is evil. And if you can't see how that is evil, I'm pretty sure if you ask, there are probably plenty of people that will tell you how it's evil. It's insidious behavior. If it was actually the word of God and it was actually the right way to do it, and it would inspire the hearts of people that heard it, you wouldn't need to do all of this stuff. But for some reason, they feel like they do. Go figure. So do you have any stories of this happening to either someone in your family or perhaps even yourself? If you do and you would want to share, I would definitely want to hear it. Definitely leave a comment. If you know of anything that you think is something that I should talk about regarding this, I would welcome that as well. And then also, got to keep things going. I got some other channels where I don't talk about subjects quite as depressing as this one. I got some merch. So check that out. Links in the description. So yeah, religion causes harm. It causes serious harm. This person's entire life has been affected by religion. This person has been denied a proper social life and upbringing. They've been introduced to concepts that would ostracize them in the outside world. Like, I don't know how many Jehovah's Witnesses you've encountered in, like, growing up in school, but it's like, first off, things are done to make you stand out. Like, you don't pledge allegiance when you do the Pledge of Allegiance. You remain silent. So just that one thing, like the first thing that you do, like automatically points a spotlight on you. And just from then on, I mean, a lot of times, there are a lot of social behavioral things that are just not picked up on, acknowledged, displayed, understood, with a lot of people that are kind of like very insulated. There are some Jehovah's Witnesses that are more open to dealing with the rest of the world than others. And there are some that are very closed off. And the closed off children, they suffer socially so bad. So it hurts all of them. And then there's just this understanding or misunderstanding of the world and how it works that bleeds over to when they're an adult. And that then affects the next generation of children that they then have. And just more and more stuff like this happens, So I don't think it's a good thing. I see the bad. Just because you don't see the bad, that doesn't mean the bad doesn't exist. Anyway, that's the program. This is some merch and some other channels that I have. talking about politics, talking about fun stuff. But yeah, some cool designs with the merch. I like the hide and seek Grand Champions. Check that out. But I appreciate you watching. You have a great day.